She wasn't okay, Frank. She's never okay. Welcome in, kiddos. It is episode 84. It's Puck here, the Daily Puck Drop, here on Wednesday, May 8th. Episode 84. Greatest number 84 in Seahawks history. Joey Galloway. Yeah? I hate doing this because then I can't remember. Is there another number 84? It's like yesterday when we did the Seahawks discussion and we were talking about the second best wide receiver in Seahawks history. And this idiot forgot about Tyler Lockett. Yeah, thank you. For all those who responded and replied to me on that one that I'm an idiot. Yeah, I am. I forgot about Tyler Lockett. Yeah, so that's the question. Tyler Lockett or Doug Baldwin? T. Lockett. Yeah, you guys are right. Hey, sorry. All right? Sorry to all you people out there that are yelling and screaming at me. All right? I screw up too. I'm human. I'm a human person. Well, we appreciate you checking in, whether you're watching or listening, and whenever you're doing so. This is the Daily Puck Drop. The DPD is like what we like to call it, hashtag DPD. You're wondering, well, what are you doing? And what happened to you? Why aren't you on the radio anymore? Well, it's a long story, all right? You can go back and listen to some of the earlier episodes, all right? We go about 25, 30 minutes getting you caught up on all the top stories of the day and just recapping just everyone's life and how everyone is doing. That's what we do here on the DPD. Episode, again, 84, where you can find it wherever you find your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music. We're working on YouTube Music. There's just and you probably saw a bunch of videos are being uploaded. There's some damn issue with YouTube Music that I'm trying to figure out right now, all right? And then, of course, you can watch here on YouTube. Please like, please subscribe, please pass it on to your family and friends and strangers. I would just walk up to a stranger and say, hey, have you listened to Puck Sports? Here you go, all right? And make sure you tell them this isn't a hockey podcast, so they are just well aware of that. All right, we're going to cover the M's real quick. I had a great back and forth with my good buddy, Adam Jude. And Adam Jude was yelling at me. And Jude, if you're listening to this and watching this, I took it personally last night. I didn't appreciate you calling me a dinosaur. All right? I know I'm a dinosaur. I know I'm an old man. And you're yelling at me. And I thought a lot about what you said. And you made me angry. And you hurt my feelings. And we're going to get to that. We're going to talk a lot. I'm wearing the Sonics hat today. So we're going to get a lot into that real quick. So I kind of want the majority of the Daily Puck Drop to kind of be that. A quick update on just a weird story. Jamal Murray. We'll get to that in a second. Hey, what the puck? There's two things I'm going to bring up. There's one I don't know if I should bring up, if I'm going to get in trouble from the CEO, but F it. You guys like hearing about my Little League escapades. You like hearing about my family. I'll have to share a story for it. Whatever. Good deal. It doesn't matter. We can do whatever we want here on this old radio program. All right, here we go. The DPD, the Daily Puck Drop, every single day. All right, M's, the under took a big hit last night. For those just joining us, yeah, every game, courtesy there of the line I use, the DraftKings Sportsbook app, every line that I use in the total, we are taking the under in the total of runs scored for the Mariners. And that one took a hit yesterday. They scored 16 runs, these sons of bitches. All right? Total. So that murdered the total last night. So we missed. So we've taken a second loss. So we're 4-2-1 on the M's bet under. We're going to be back on the horse today. We're betting it one more time. We're going to bet every single game this season on the under. Chris Puckett gets the start today against George Kirby. Kirby's given up 3 earned runs or less, or he's given up 3 earned runs total in the last 4 games. And for Puckett, he's given up 13 earned runs in his last 3 starts. The total tonight over at the DraftKings Sportsbook app is 7.5. All right, 7.5. Quickly on that game last night, Cal Raleigh, he just beat the crap out of that baseball. My God, did he hammer that thing? into left field. I mean, their offense wasn't doing much until they call him up and he didn't start. Savala got the start, and so Raleigh comes in and just blisters it. And what is so damn cool about Cal Raleigh? I mean, we've talked about this before. My love affair for him. How I just think he's the most important player on the team. And we're not going to go into that. Just everything that he brings to the team. And to see his improvement this year, and there was something that Jim Duquette talked about, I think on Monday's show, maybe it was the week prior, about how much better he has gotten from the right side and how much time that he put in the offseason about getting better now. And I want to say that's his 4th or 5th home run now from the right side of the plate. And, they brought in, they bring in a lefty to try and flip him over. It's just, I don't know. It's awesome to watch that guy get better and better every single year. He's never going to hit for a high average. That's just not his game. But for him to come into that game, hit that grand slam was just awesome. Rojas delivering one more time in the 9th inning. The scary thing from last night's game, which I hate anyways, and I've always hated this, and it actually happened in one of our Little League games. And I don't think that there was anything that the base runner for the Twins did wrong. Like, if you go back and watch it, he doesn't, like, when he slides into first base and Taylor Saucedo gets, and Sauce gets hurt, right? He didn't slide into him. There was nothing malicious that the player did. I just think it's one of the dumbest rules in baseball. I just think it's stupid. I don't think you should be able to slide head first into first base. Never liked it. I think you do risk an injury. You had an injury last night. Again, I don't think it was because of the slide, but he's going over there to cover. Maybe he sees him. You can always have a collision there. That can happen. Again, hey, Jude, if that's being a dinosaur, then I'm going to be a dinosaur again on that one too. I don't get it. I don't get why we allow that to happen. I think there's a great risk for injury about allowing a base runner to slide head first. I mean, honestly, it's frowned upon anyways to do it, like one of those unwritten rules, but whatever. And it reminds me, because we had an incident last night in our Ballard Little League game. Fisher Plumbing goes down again, tough one, 7-6, lost in the bottom of the 5th inning. We were down 7-0. We rally to tie the game up we rallied to what did we tie the game up in? The bottom of the top of the 5th inning. We rally. I can't even remember. We rally for the top of the 5th inning to score 6 runs, tied at 6, and then we lose in the bottom of the 5th, 7-6. But hey, great comeback. But a kid who just smoked a ball to center field, because we have no fence, we had like cones out there, and it's a ground rule double. Okay. He goes and steals third, pass ball, and he slides head first into third. And you can't, in Little League, you can't slide head first, which again is stupid. Why? Most of these kids play club ball anyways, so why not just let them slide head first? You can slide head first in club ball, so let them do it here. And the other thing that's dumb about the Little League rule, if you're on a bag and you want to go back to the base in Little League, you can go back head first. But going into the bag, like on a pass ball or stealing, you have to go feet first. I don't get it. We even told the coach, we said, that's terrible, man. That kid should have come around and scored after scorching a double into center field. Like, that kid should have scored. But anyways, I don't like the head first slide into first base. I think it's stupid. I hope Sauce is okay. Sounds like he's going to be out for a while. That's a huge loss to the bullpen. It's massive. He's a massive piece to their bullpen. They didn't, they needed them last night, but their offense was kind of the story of the game. Hancock struggled. That's his last start. Brian Woo's going to come up. But it was awesome to see what the offense was able to do last night. They do have the potential to put up runs in big bunches like that. And they've always had the opportunity to do that. Now, we brought this up yesterday on the Daily Puck Drop. I talked about it on Twitter, and because Krueger and I on Monday went over kind of like what we would like to see for a lineup. Now, I put the lineup out there, what I would like to see. Now, I'm going to do this off memory now. For me, I think, as I take a real quick sip of coffee here, I need my caffeine fix here on the Daily Puck Drop. What I would like to see them at least try would be for when Crawford comes back, because that was the springboard of the conversation with Bill was, when Crawford comes back, what do you do? And I tend to agree with Krueger that he shouldn't lose his spot in the lineup based on an injury. Let's at least allow him to come back and see if he can recapture the form he had a year ago. Those who tweeted and said, well, he wasn't good in the beginning of the year, you're absolutely right, but it was also 22 games. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's just try it out for a few weeks. And if it doesn't work, then we can move him down the lineup. I would go Crawford 1. Rojas has got to play. So I'm going to go Crawford. I'm going to go Rojas 2. I'm going to hit Julio 3. This is where the problem, this is where Jude started yelling at me. Julio 3, Haniger 4, Raleigh 5, Garver 6, France 7, Polanco 8, and then Dylan Moore's playing a lot, so I'm going to say Dylan Moore 9. Now, let me just explain why I would do that. Let's get to the bottom of the order. That's 7, 8, 9. France, Polanco, Moore. Why there? Now that's not great, but they have three of the 4 best on-base percentages for the Mariners. I'm all about wanting to lengthen out the lineup as much as possible. And then especially at the bottom, I mean, at every level of baseball, you put your worst hitters at the bottom, right? I mean, it doesn't matter where you play. I would like at least those 3 guys, because they're not tearing the cover off the ball, but one, they get on base for the most part. And with Dylan Moore, you've got some speed down there. If those guys can flip around and flip that lineup back around for JP, Rojas, and Julio, to me, would be advantageous. Now comes the debate where Adam Jude was yelling at me, calling me a dinosaur. And you know what? He's right. He is. I am a dinosaur. Okay. I'm a dinosaur, and I'm an old man. He goes, you can't hit Julio third. He's going to get more plate appearances. Baseball has changed. Your best hitter hits second. And listen, there is a ton of examples of that. I mean, it's not like Adam Jude or anybody else is wrong with that. I mean, you see examples all over the place. Ohtani hits second. Juan Soto right now hits second, but we're going to use him as an example where he didn't. Who else hits second? Mentioned Ohtani. Corey Seager hits second. Yeah, I mean, it's. I'm not saying that the trend isn't to have your best hitter hit second. That a lot of teams do that, but it's not the end all be all. And it's not like, well, you have to have Julio hit second because he's the best hitter. And there's just no argument against it. This sport was played like 150 years before we started making this change, and it was kind of okay. And your best hitters, the guys who drive in runs, and I know there's going to be this big debate here. Well, are they important? Or RBI? Are they important? Well, I think they're important. You have guys in your lineup whose role is to drive people in. Julio should be the best player on the team to do that. He should be your most effective player to drive in guys. Ken Griffey Jr. was the same way. So I do believe, I understand the game has shifted and analytics have certainly played a part, and I love that analytics plays a part. But I do think there's a mindset of having guys hit third because there is a responsibility with hitting third. And again, it's not like every team in baseball takes their best hitter and goes, well, he's got to hit second. Bryce Harper hits third. Aaron Judge hits third. Jose Ramirez for the Guardians hits third. Julio last year, majority of his ABs and plate appearances were hitting second. He had 714 plate appearances last year, and the majority of those were hitting second. Last year for Juan Soto, when he was playing with the Padres, the majority of his at-bats were hitting third. He's hitting second this year because of Aaron Judge. Ohtani last year had, now again, different lineup, but it was pretty even. 317 plate appearances hitting second, 259 hitting third. Yordan Alvarez, who besides Altuve, Yordan Alvarez is the most feared hitter in that lineup. Last year, 433 of his 497 plate appearances were hitting third. Top RBI producers last season in Major League Baseball. These are the top group of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 5 guys. Okay, it's not clear cut that, because the argument of hitting second is what? You have more opportunities to drive in guys. Okay. Matt Olson, 314 at-bats last year, hitting cleanup. 259 hitting second. So he was kind of splitting his time a little bit more, hitting fourth, not so much hitting third. Okay, so that's an argument for Jude. Jude and that young whippersnapper and great-looking haircut and the best-looking media member gets a nod there. Pete Alonso had 470 at-bats last year, hitting fourth. 98 at-bats, hitting third. Kyle Tucker, 208 bats last year, hitting third. 163 hitting fourth. 198 hitting fifth. So he kind of was all over the place for 3, 4, 5. Here's a great example of Albies, 369 at-bats, hitting second. Juan Soto last year, who was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on that list. I told you before, the majority, almost all of his at-bats were hitting third. Top RBI producers for this year, right now. Ozuna hits fifth or sixth in the lineup for the Braves. Bohm for the Phillies hits sixth or seventh. Perez hits cleanup. Jose Ramirez hits third. Garcia hits cleanup. Bryce Harper hits third. And Josh Naylor hits fourth. Now, one of those guys who produces the most RBI so far hits second in the order. So it is not like, I understand the thinking behind it, and I get it. But it's not like everyone's got, you have to put him there. Why don't we just try it out and just see? And just see if putting Julio there, because what it does to me, that lineup that we laid out, it just lengthens that lineup and just makes it longer. I would give it a shot. It's not like he hasn't done it before. The one other piece of the Mariners I want to get to real quick, because George Kirby gets the start today. Now, this is a little bit of a lengthy cut, but I want to play it because one thing that I didn't think I talked about yesterday, but I want to talk about today, the George Kirby Friday situation, right? He comes out of the game, 88 pitches. They talk about his knee. It's sore, or he's been dealing with it. Now, it has not affected the way he's pitched the last month, his last 3 or 4 starts. He's been great. But I think it sparked this conversation between Bill and I where, again, we openly just wondered, hey, is it really the knee? Is he dealing with a little bit of something, but he certainly could pitch through it? Or was pulling him Friday more just about how they manage the game before the game starts? Guy gets to a certain pitch threshold. He's 88, so let's just use 90 as the marker. And then we're going to pull him from the game. Now, both Bill and I tend to agree that it was more of that, more than the knee. Krueger, though, and I just want to set this up, Krueger is a massive fan of George Kirby. Massive. He just wants George Kirby to maximize the potential he has as a starting pitcher. But when we got into this on Monday's show, which you can go listen to on the Bill Krueger podcast, wherever you find your podcast, easiest spot, pucksports.com. This is what Krueger talked about on Monday in regards to George Kirby.
He had a problem last year where they left him in over 90, gave up a homer, and he cried after the game, and that was really bad. It was very immature, and he got hammered for that. But, let's just start from the standpoint that we've conditioned our very elite secretariat-type pitchers to know that the third time around, who knows, and if we get to 90, we're done. And when you tell people that time and time again, eventually they believe it. George Kirby could throw over 90 pitches. He could throw over 100 pitches. It's not like we want him to throw 130 every time out. We're talking about these guys at the peak of their capability. For whatever reason, baseball has determined that they want to play chess. They want to go to all these guys in the bullpen. The strike zone is big with the 100 miles an hour at the top of the zone and blah, blah, blah. George should have some time to think about this a little bit. I mean, I don't even know if these kids think winning is important because maybe they don't get paid to win. They get paid to have all the other numbers except winning. When I played, you got paid to win. And the only way you won is if you stayed in the game long enough to win. So for him, he should be walking away going, I'm not gonna let that happen to me again. Whatever happened between innings, whether it was like a forward question, it was prompted, So what, is your knee okay? Are you feeling it? And we talk, and then he goes, well, it's a little, then we're going to take you out. Do you think George came to them and said, my knee's bothering me, I think I should come out? If he did that, I'm really going to think he's not going to be very good. He's not going to be very good because you got to smell the finish line. Okay. I was not a great pitcher. George has got a chance to be an exceptional pitcher. I never took myself out.
All right. I think there's zero doubt that George Kirby wants to be great. And I don't think George Kirby, I think he cares about all the other stats, but I think there is a fire inside George Kirby that wants to go out there and win every day and take the ball and be the guy, be the horse, the leader of the staff. And I think Krueger wasn't suggesting that he doesn't. I think Bill's just bringing up, hey, is there a mentality of today's pitcher that is different than when he pitched? Are we more concerned about the strikeouts and getting paid, and what are the other numbers that would suggest what a great pitcher is? Now, I think a lot of these guys don't even pay attention to those stats, honestly. And I do think that George Kirby fits into the more of the old school mode of wanting to win, and that when you win, when you go out there and take the ball every 5 days and give you 7, 8, 9 innings, you win, right? That wins. I think looking at his box score, looking at his stats, I think if he were to see, 17, 18, 19 wins, I think it still excites these guys. I do. I don't think it's one of these, hey, I'm 9-10, but my ERA is, 2.04. But he's making a start again today. So whatever this knee issue is, it's certainly not a huge deal where they're skipping him. I don't want to call into question, because now we're going down a road of where the Mariners and their personnel could get in trouble for this. He probably has something going on his knee. It can't be all that serious because he's not missing a start. But I do think, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and whatever, we'll own it. I do think pulling him from Friday's game was way more about where he was at his pitch count than anything to do with his knee. And if Bill and I are correct in that just opinion, that is just a major problem with these guys. And not George Kirby, but this staff and this coaching. You just stop determining the game before the game is played. That's it. All right. Quickly over the NBA, you're wondering why I'm wearing the Sonics hat. We'll get more into this tomorrow because I wanted to spend the majority of the time on this one. So maybe we'll tease it more for tomorrow. But no one understands. There's a piece in the Seattle Times, Jeff Baker today, about how the Kraken, Samantha Holloway, who is the daughter of David Bonderman, who is one of the owners of the Kraken. He's also a minority owner of the Boston Celtics. There's a story that Jeff Baker did in the Times today about how an email has been sent out to season ticket holders and saying that, hey, an umbrella company is coming. Like, all of the entities under this group, which includes like the remodel project at Seattle Center for Memorial Stadium, all of these are going to be under one roof eventually, under one umbrella. And so an email was out, sending that out to season ticket holders. Now, I think it mentioned in there is, and some big other opportunities are coming up. We all know what those opportunities are. That is the NBA. She has gone on the record with us when we were on the radio, and then also, I think with Jeff Baker himself at the Times, saying that she is going to be the lead. She is going to be the one in charge when the NBA does come back, that Samantha is going to be the one that's going to run the thing. She's going to be the face of the franchise. And I don't think there's any really secret about that. I mean, they've been very open and public about it. So I was thinking about that. I read that last night. I was thinking about it today. And then I had a good conversation with one of the baseball dads, and who's not from here, but he moved here he's from Chicago originally, and he moved here back in 2012, 2013, I think. And he was talking about the NBA because he was asking me a bunch of questions about it. And I think I was wearing the Sonics hat. And he's like, hey, what do you think it's going to be like? Do you think they're going to compete with the Kraken for like eyeballs? And I'm like, no, there's going to be zero competition. between them and the Kraken for eyeballs. I said, Alan, you have no idea since you're not from here. And there's a lot of you maybe watching and listening right now who are not originally from here and don't remember the Sonics at all. You have no idea what the reception is going to be like when they come back. Zero. And I don't even think like lifelong residents like myself or others get it. I mean, I get it to a degree, but I don't know to the level that it's going to be. I think the night that they play their very first game at Climate Pledge. Now, this is going to be a stupid take for many of you. I think it's going to be the single biggest sporting event this city's ever seen. Okay? That's what I think. The champion, I know Seahawks fans, you'll be arguing with the championship games. You're a fool. Probably. I am a fool. I mean, I can get into a separate debate that the biggest event leading up to those championship games was the first one. I will always contend the first one, because it's the first one, was always the biggest. The game against Carolina. I think that night, that week, those weeks leading up to when they return, I don't think there's a sporting event that will ever will be able to rival in the past what that's going to be like. You walk around town, you see how many people are wearing Sonics gear still. You see how many people are just still reference them all the time. Even the people that say, "Oh, I swear off the NBA. I don't want to talk about the NBA." Deep down, it burns inside them. I have always contended, and it's just an opinion because other people have their opinion about the Mariners or the Seahawks or Husky football. I think the Sonics are the single most popular franchise in the history of this city. And I honestly, I really don't even think it's close. First of all, they're the most successful franchise of those, right? When we talk Mariners and Seahawks, well, now the Kraken, when we talk about men's professional franchises, they are the most successful one. You go look at their long history. They didn't have this up and down. We're really, really awful, and then we're good, and we're awful. There was a level since the second they came in the league, a level of consistency. And it's the perfect sport because it's miserable here in the winter. And it's fun to go inside and watch basketball. Look at all the great athletes that have come out of here. High school, college, all of them. It's a hotbed of hoops here. It is in the core of the people that have grown up here and have lived here their entire lives. It's in our DNA. Certain cities have a DNA of sports. Basketball is the DNA of this city. It is. You cut people open, you know, it pours out legends of the NBA. And I just don't know. I don't think all of you realize what that night is going to be like and leading up to it. Even the ones that want to swear it off. It's going to be it is going to be so awesome, especially like when they finally break the story here. I don't know when. Let's say it's the end of this year. Once they wrap up the media deal, which is getting close to getting wrapped up soon, and Amazon Prime is going to be a part of it. And they turn to expansion. And you hear that first report, whoever breaks it, who's the NBA? Adrian Wojnarowski breaks that the NBA is expanding to Seattle and Las Vegas. This place, I mean, first of all, we'll on pucksports.com, we'll go 24 hours live. Okay, maybe not 24 hours. That's a little aggressive. We'll go on right away. Because I just think the level of excitement, even for the ones that have sworn off, I don't think you realize how much you miss it and how much you want it back. So speaking quickly of the NBA, Jamal Murray did not get suspended. He was fined $100,000. Can people relax that he should have been suspended? My God, people, he threw a towel on the court and a heating pad. He should be barred for life. God. I'm not saying what he did was right, but he threw a towel and a heating pad. You know what happened? And then I hear this from people. And I mean, I could go 30 minutes on this one, the undercurrent of what this person is trying to say about the two leagues. Well, you'd never see that in hockey or the NHL, but in the NBA, and we know what we're talking about. I don't need to lay it out for people. When I start hearing that person bringing up hockey and the NHL and this stuff wouldn't happen, I know exactly where that person is coming from. Okay? You know what happened like 2 months ago? Does anybody know who Jack Hughes is? I think he plays for does he play for Jersey? Jack Hughes got frustrated with the officials one night. It's like 2 months ago. Thought he was got a penalty on a breakaway. He goes to the bench. He breaks his stick over the boards and throws it on the ice. Do you know what happened to him? Hockey guy who said, who tells me that this wouldn't happen. Nothing at all. There's no punishment. He didn't get suspended. Okay, it was frustration. It happens in sports. Good on those officials of not doing it. Good on those officials that night, by the way. They didn't tee up the head coach of the Nuggets. Why am I blanking on his name right now? Michael Malone? No, it's not Michael Malone. Why am I blanking on his name? My God. But Malone, they didn't tee him up. They allowed him to lose his shit and move on. Sometimes it just happens in sports. You lose it. All right. You move on. I don't know. But calling for a suspension of Jamal Murray was a little rough. All right. Lastly, we'll wrap it up with this. The Daily Puck Drop, the DPD. Hey, what the puck? All right. Real quickly, I want to say this. Voicemails. You can leave us a voicemail. Puck at pucksports.com. Puck at pucksports.com to leave a voicemail. Also, kicking this around, leave the comments below in YouTube. Send me an email, puck at pucksports.com, because I want to know this. I'm gonna do a little marketing research. The Daily Puck Drop. Should we go live? Would you like this to be live? We'll start it, but we could even go at 9, or we could keep it at 10 a.m. What would you want? Would you want this to go live maybe every day, 3 days a week? You let me know, because we're kicking around the idea of doing this live. Also, hey, what the puck, and I'm going to probably get in trouble with this one. So we had our baseball game last night, and we had a player who was getting a little emotional against the starting pitcher of the other team. Okay, Ballard Little League, Fisher Plumbing were playing a team from Northwest Little League. And this kid is throwing hard. I mean, really, he's a really good pitcher. He's throwing hard. He's just striking us out left and right. We can't get anything off him. But as the game wears on, like as anything happens with any young kid, young pitcher, he's like in the 3rd inning or 4th inning or so. He starts to get a little wild. He's getting tired. So he's throwing the ball all over the place now. In the dirt, to the backstop, sometimes like over the kid's head. And so our player's up there, and like the first 3 pitches are like way inside where it knocks the player back over, and then the 2 more over his head. And like where the player's got to duck in and get out of the way. And the player the play is getting like visibly frustrated. No doubt thinking that the kid is throwing at him on purpose, which he's 12. He's not throwing at him on purpose. There's just no way. That kid doesn't even know how to throw at someone on purpose. The next pitch hits the player in the back, like hard, and goes down, gets up, mad, visibly mad and angry. And as he's walking to first base, I'm laughing because it's not funny, but he flips the pitcher off. But doesn't really flip the pitcher off. He does this with his ring finger, not the middle finger. So he doesn't do that. He does the ring finger. I see it right away, and I'm like, oh, shit. Here we go. Because he's going to be run from the game. Because the pitcher reacted. I think the shortstop of the other team reacted. And he's walking up first base. And I'm like, I'm not saying anything. And I'm like, and I'm telling I'm like, listen, there's a good chance he's going to ring you up, and you're out. And then he gets to first base. Nothing has happened. And I think at this point, the home plate umpire, who was great, by the way, one of the best ones we ever had, like an 8-year-old kid, balls and strikes, awesome. And I think one of the parents of the other team or somebody got his attention, like, hey, that kid just flipped off our pitcher. And I think he came to his attention. Maybe he didn't see it. Maybe he didn't, just like kind of was like waiting for him to get to first base. So he calls him out. And I'm like, all right, doesn't throw him out, just calls him out and said, hey, it's a warning. As we're walking back to the dugout, I just said, hey, listen, man, I knew this was probably going to happen. I thought you would just get thrown out. the player's kind of arguing with me back and forth. I didn't do anything. I said, yeah, you did. I saw it. You did. Whether you really used the middle finger or your ring finger, I saw you did something towards him, and it looks like you flipped him off. So you can't do that. You can't act that way. And we're just arguing back and forth. And it kind of carries into the dugout. And there's some tears coming out. I didn't mean to do it. I didn't do it. And I'm like, yes, you did. Yes, you did. I guarantee I saw it. We all saw it. And we're arguing back and forth. So, like, unbeknownst to me during all of this, as I'm trying to calm the player down, the home plate umpire, thinks that the kid is yelling at him, but the kid is yelling at me. And so the umpire tosses him from the game because he thinks he's arguing with him. I don't recognize that till the next inning because I kept the said player out. He's not in the field the next inning. I benched him. But his turn in the lineup was coming up. So I'm like, all right, blah, 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 so-and-so. All right, and you're up. And one of our assistants says, hey, he can't hit. I think the home plate umpire threw him out. So I go over there. I said, hey, did you throw him out? And he said, yeah. I said, for what? He was arguing. I said, he wasn't arguing with you. He was arguing with me, not you. And then so we kind of were going back and forth. I'm like, you're throwing him out for something he didn't do. Now, if you wanted to throw him out because you saw it and that's fine. But you called him out and now you're throwing him out because he was arguing with me. He's got every right to argue with me, not you. And this guy's like, if you say one more thing, then you're out too. And I'm like, okay, I'll shut up. So here's the rub now. What do you do with said player? And what do you do with said player when it's your kid? That's right. The old vampire. You got to play role as dad and then role as coach. So, do we enact the suspension one more time for violating team rules? You can comment and vote below. And this kid, if he ever listens to this, is going to kill me for telling this story. But I don't know. I don't know what to do. We had a good long chat about it. Can't do it. Can't do anything like that. But yeah, that's a tough one yesterday because the dad in me wanted to wring his neck. Then the coach in me had to be like, all right, we got to calm this situation down. We got a game to play. Now I got to figure out what's going on. So it's like two different hats you're wearing. And probably a bunch of you dads and moms you're watching to listen to this have gone through the same thing. So that's where we're at right now in the Puckett household. Whether or not the vampire is facing a week-long suspension. We got to figure that out. All right, we appreciate you listening, watching the Daily Puck Drop. We do it every single day. Episode 84 in the books. Coming up later today, that will drop at 1 o'clock. Conversation with Ryan Divish, Seattle Times, and Brad Adam of Root Sports. We'll talk to you tomorrow. As always, we promise to be back.
No shoes, no ties.
Would anybody like to smoke some pot?
Yeah.
I was born to love you. I was born to lick your face. I was born to rub you. But you were born to rub me first.
What do you need my address for?
We'd like to send out a mailer.
Mother of mercy, I don't speak Japanese!